What's up, guys? We're going to do a fairly quick video today. I've been talking to a lot of people about Kickstarter. Some people have asked me because I've been doing more with this, and sometimes it just comes naturally in conversation when I'm talking to other folks at conventions and that sort of thing as to benefits to it, why people aren't doing it, and that sort of thing. And there's three reasons I'm getting why people don't do them, and we're going to kind of tackle that and then also give you some reasons why you absolutely should be doing them. Number one, people say they're too busy. Number two, it's the very candid answer is I'm afraid it's what's going to look like if I fail, if I don't meet my goal, what fans are going to think, what other people are going to think, all that good stuff. And then the last bit is the optics, that it looks bad that if you have to ask people for money, that sort of thing. Those, believe it or not, some of you might think that's ridiculous, some of those, or you might very much identify with one of those reasons. I'm going to break it down today as to how easy it is to put together a Kickstarter, why you should be doing it, and why, if one of these three reasons or more than one of these three reasons why you haven't done one yet, you need to really consider doing this today or soon. We'll take a look at one of my campaigns, and we'll take a look at how I did it and kind of work backwards from there. Dark Side was my sort of Star Wars parody book, and it is the least backed project that I have. 23 backers, and they pledged $1,300. And I can't tell you how many people I have heard, especially comic pros, that are like, man, sometimes I see these guys doing Kickstarters and they're only raising like $1,000. Like, that's BS. Why would you even do that? It's like, well, everyone's got to start somewhere, right? And I have other projects that have funded more, and I'm still not like knocking it out of the park or whatever, but I'm raising enough money to get a bunch of comics, and that's ultimately what we're here to do. So when you're putting one of these things together, it gets really overwhelming when you start to scroll through. You see, like, you got these banner images, I've got a video, you've got all this story stuff, demo pages, reward tiers on the right. It's like, where do you even start? And then you start thinking, I have way too much to do than to figure out how to do all this. I'm going to break it down really easy. You do not have to do the vast majority of what I have on the screen. Really, what you need is a product that you're going to sell and work backwards from there. So if I just wanted to make a comic book, one of my favorite comic book printers that I've been using, and they are not a sponsor by any means, is Mix'em. And if you take a look at Mix'em, they do all kinds of printing, all kinds of stuff, but we're going to look particularly today at either a comic book or an art book. Here, if you click on books, there's options for like art books and photography books, but we're going to specifically look at comics to show you what it takes to print your own book, and then what kind of money you would actually need to raise on a Kickstarter to get going. So let's say, I believe, if I remember correctly, that Dark Side won, I think it was 32 pages. But here's the number one thing that you need to look at. If it's your first time making a comic, is what size it's going to be. Because there's about a 1/4 inch difference between different publishers. And even if it's like 1/10 of an inch, it can end up with you having white margin on your borders that you didn't intend to be there. So work backwards from here. So 6.69 by 10.24. We're going to go with paperback. We're going to start with one. We're going to go with all the most basic options. We're going to go with the cheapest paper, stapled. We'll say 32 pages. Definitely want a cover for it. We'll go with the cheapest cover. We'll say yes to inner cover print. You know what? We'll say no. And then we'll go with no lamination. That actually raised up the price by making it cheaper. We'll say 100 pound cover. That wasn't it. I think it was the actual pages. Yeah. So with the most basic options, it's gonna be $5 a book. That's just one book. Let's say if you wanted a print run where not only could you take care of a small Kickstarter, but also have some extra to take on the road. So you wanted a print run of 100. That brings your cost down to $285 a comic. And if you want expedited shipping, just roughly double it, and there you go. But $285 a comic, you could sell your comics for $20 in the indie scene, and people will pay it if they like you and they like the art. At a bare minimum, do you think you could raise $300? If you're doing that amongst 20 people, that means you need what, 15 backers? You think you can get 15 people to give you $20? Okay, let's step it up a little bit because we don't want to seem cheap. We're gonna go with thicker paper option, and then we're also going to go with a gloss cover. Oh, I'm sorry, that's paper type. Oh no, that's cover. So we're gonna go with gloss cover, thicker paper with a gloss lamination. So that only raised our price per comic around 40 cents per book. So $3.27. Can you get $15 and change? I'm sorry. I got that backwards. What it boils down to is you don't have to raise that much money to get 100 comics. All right, so we got this figured out. At a bare minimum, if we do a Kickstarter today, if we wanted to make this run, we got to get $330. And if you wanted to upgrade some of these, to do like a perfect bound, okay, now that's your average cost per book is $444. So if you're doing like an art book, you probably want to do something like that. And even if you wanted to do more pages, let's say you wanted to be 60 pages, you're looking at about $5 a book. Art books, you can, like, I have one that I sell for $40. People pay it. They're happy to do so. They support me. They like the artwork. And they're getting something that's on a limited print run, which is also a big deal. So there is, innately, there is value in these books. But why would you do a Kickstarter? Well, first and foremost is that if you're going to be making a book anyways, this is a natural way to get starting capital where you don't have to shell out $500 to get the product. Second bit is this whole fear of failing thing. Think of it this way. If you were to do this on your own without doing Kickstarter, you still have to advertise and market and go out there and fail repeatedly when people walk by and you're like, hey, I got a new book, and they just walk right past you. Happens all the time at conventions, right? The people that are most likely going to support you are the backers that you already have and the repeat customers that are coming to you at conventions, right? They're the most likely ones to be like, hey, do you have anything new? And you're like, yeah, I just got a new art book, or I'm starting a Kickstarter, you can back it. Those people are most likely going to help you. And they'll be excited to do so. And yeah, it is helping you, but think of it as like a pre-order, right? Like you are already going to do this thing. They get first dibs at it. And maybe you throw in some extras to make it more worth their while. The last bit is the optics of, like, I don't want to ask like I'm begging or, going to, like, you're already selling to your fans anyways, right? Anytime that you post something, you say it's online in my print shop, you're pretty much doing the same thing, except this is a pre-order. So the idea that I'm too busy, I'm afraid of failing, or it looks like I'm begging, I think those are all bunk. I think those are things that we put in our own way to not do it. Because if you don't do it, you can't fail. But it turns out it's not that hard to do it. Many of you kind of want to make a book anyways. And I'm showing you for the premium option of everything that we just talked about, at $5 a book, for $500, do you think if you ran a Kickstarter for a month, you could raise $500? The answer is probably yes. And I'm showing you the least backed thing that I did with only 20 some odd people backing it. Made $1,300. So I got a couple hundred books out of this deal. I didn't really pocket any of this money as like profit. It pretty much all went into buying books so I could take them on the road. And if you think of it that way, I'm almost doubling the amount of money I have coming in over time, obviously, because now I have, I don't want to say effectively free books, but they all got purchased out of this Kickstarter. All right, so what's it take to do a Kickstarter then? Number one, figure out what kind of thing you're going to make. Number two, the same day that you're kind of figuring that out, you're sitting at the computer and you're clicking around Mix'em, you know, maybe you're going to Artist Express, checking them out. They've got some cool options too. Is that you need to start a Kickstarter page and create a new project. It's that easy. So I'm going to click on New Project. It's going to ask you a couple basic things. What category does it fall into? Well, I'm going to make a comic book. Pick those two things. And is there another category? Well, maybe it's an art and illustration book. Maybe it would fall under there too. Like if you're going to put some bonus pages in the back or something. It's going to ask you what country you're in. That might have something to do with like shipping and that sort of thing. And then it's going to ask you to review the rules. You got to be making something that you can share with other people. It has to be honestly and clearly presented. Projects can't fundraise for charity. Projects can't offer equity. And they can't involve prohibited items. Chances are if you're making a comic book, as long as you're not making something that is like hateful, you're probably fine. There's some wild stuff on Kickstarter. If you have any questions, just click on that. Got it. All right. This is your project overview. Basics is just what it is. Name of the product, all that good stuff. Rewards is where you're going to spend most of your time. Story, people do different things with that, but we're going to just go right down the list. Basics. Click on that. What's the name? What's the subtitle? So mine was Dark Side, The Return of Cole Cobb, an adventure about the most nefarious bounty hunter in the galaxy, crawling out from the belly of the beast to seek vengeance on those who put him there. There you go. Doesn't have to be long. In fact, they only give you 135 characters, so you have to be concise anyways. Next, you've got your project categories. You pick; those were already picked. If you need to change them, that's where you can do it. You need to put in your location, so like your city. You don't have to put your exact city. You can put something that's close by. So I always just put Akron, Ohio. And here's where things get particular. So if you're taking notes, this is a place to take a note. That image, that banner that goes across the top needs to be a 16:9 ratio image at a minimum of 1024 pixels by 576 pixels. You can double that if you want. You can triple that if you want. You can do 300 DPI, 600 DPI, whatever you want to do, as long as it's under 50 megabytes. And they tell you here not to put lettering and that sort of thing because it can throw off algorithms. You can do whatever you want. Like, you can put writing on there. You can, all kinds of things. Just, I wouldn't go too small or too detailed because most people are going to be looking at this on their phone. So, something catchy. Click around other people's Kickstarters. It's literally going to be the image right at the top, like a banner. You don't have to do a video. In fact, if it's your first time doing it, it's fun to put together a video, but you're probably going to spend a lot of time on it. And not everybody watches them. Where it does come into play, though, is when you're scrolling through and looking at people's projects. If you hover your mouse over their icons, it'll start to play the video. So it's kind of good to have something right up front that has some images of what's going to be in your book. Here is the part where everybody gets hung up, are these three things: funding goal, launch date, campaign duration. There is no need to make this goal this wild thing, right? I know plenty of people that have made $30,000, $60,000, $90,000. You do not have to make that your goal. In fact, the guys that I know that are routinely doing like $90,000 to $100,000, they make their goal like $1,000, and they hit it in minutes. As soon as they launch it and they send out the emails saying that it launched, they're way in the clear of that $1,000. If I were you, whatever your funding goal is going to be the bare minimum of what you need to print those books. So if we said that for that nicer art book with the perfect bound and everything was going to be $500, your goal's $500. Punch it in. It's that easy. And if it's something you're going to do anyways, you can make it $100 if you want. It does not matter. There might be some people who are like, the only reason they hit their goal in 20 minutes was because their goal was $100. It's whatever. You're going to print it anyways. It does not matter. What does matter, though, is when you're going to launch and how long you're going to run it for. You do not have to pick a target launch date, but it helps you. Like, they'll give you an estimated time frame as to when you have to have all of your information submitted for approval. So not a bad idea to go ahead and just punch that in. Give yourself plenty of time to get stuff put together. So if it's springtime now, maybe you're launching this in the fall. you're going to get all kinds of opinions on when to launch. I will say that my experience off the several Kickstarters I've done, summer's not the best time to launch one. People want to spend their money on vacation stuff, but that is your call. My recommendation, though, is for the duration. They allow you to do a fixed number of days of up to 60 days. I would personally have not seen a great return on investment of pushing more than 30 days. 30 days, let's put it this way. You have a built-in audience that's going to support you. They're, for the most part, like when they click that I want this or I want that, their money doesn't get collected until the project is funded. So if you set your goal for $500 and you only raise $400, the project is considered a failure. All right? No one's card gets swiped, all that good stuff. Your diehard fans are not likely going to back down unless they have financial hardship. The people that would back down are the random people that find you on Kickstarter. And they do have a built-in audience. They do have people that will click through and look at things, that and the other. And because there's so many new projects coming out, they might love your idea at first, but a month and a half from now, maybe they have financial hardship. Maybe there's other projects they think that are more shiny and exciting. And you will see natural drop-off. It happens. And the longer you run this campaign, the more likely there is to be drop-off. So first time around, set it for 30 days. And my recommendation for a launch date would be when you know that you're going to have time to market it. So whether it's at conventions or you know you're going to be able to set up some live streams or whatever you're going to do to help promote this thing, that's when you want to launch it. So, for instance, if you know you're going to be doing New York Comic Con and you can have flyers printed with like your QR code to your Kickstarter, I would plan on launching around then, and I would make it 30 days. I've seen some people do it for like a 2-week duration, but it's also smart to end it on a specific date and time when you know you're going to be home, you know you can be in front of your computer, and you can be spamming out last minute like, hey guys, there's 5 hours left, make sure you go. There's 3 hours left, make sure you know, all that good stuff. Last but not least, late pledges. That's once the Kickstarter is funded. If you want people to be able to go in and back afterwards, you can enable late pledges. I haven't seen many people do that. That's your call. All right. This is all pretty easy. We just did all that. If you need to recap, feel free to rewind. If you have any questions, put them down in the comments. I'll try to answer as we go. And then the rewards. This is where you're going to spend most of your time. I'm going to make your life a little bit easier with some recommendations here. You're going to have items, reward tiers, and add-ons. Think of it this way. Your reward tier is going to be your number 3 combo in McDonald's, right? Or whatever. You know, you got a Big Mac combo. You got a sandwich, fries, and a drink. Add-ons would be like, well, I also want an additional Big Mac, or I want an additional milkshake. Items is going to be every possible thing that you can sell that is either going to be in that combo or an add-on. So, for instance, on Dark Side, let's just go back to that real quick. Going back to Dark Side. So my rewards, I had a very basic one for a digital download. Just a copy of the comic that comes with the digital download. Blank sketch covers. I had like a few different options of what you could get. I put a time-sensitive deal on there too. And then you have these options where you can get all the covers and a commission. You can get a commission with the comics. That sort of thing. These would be like your combo meals. Each individual thing that's on this picture is an item. So if we go back, what we would do then is we'd click on new item. And for every little thing that's going to be in one of those possible rewards, we're going to make an item for it. You're going to name it, so you can say it's like, this will be cover A, and then you'd upload a file. Here is where you need to take another note. These images that go on there, they're all going to be in the same ratio of 3:2. So your big one at the top was it a 16:9 or whatever? Your items and your reward items or your reward packages, those are going to be 3:2 or Minimum, it says here, 348 by 232 pixels. As long as you scale it up, and you can do that in any of your apps, Procreate, Photoshop, whatever you're using, that is the dimension you need to have. And the best way to do that, in my opinion, is just make a template in Procreate, make a cool background so it's nice and uniform, and then just make like clip art items of each of the things you're selling, like your comic book covers, your prints, whatever it is that you're going to be selling that's an add-on. You can then drag them in one by one, save those, export those, so you have all of your individual items. And what that's going to do, that's going to give you, it's okay, we can go back. It's going to give you sort of your building blocks to then do your reward tiers. So we do all those items, we get all those put in there. Now we can build our reward tiers. So here they give you some examples. A copy of what you're making, a behind-the-scene peek, exclusive experience or object. These are all just generic. You can click on and add. So this first one would be like cover A, saving all the old ones I did. Cover A package. Perfect. I completely misspelled all of that. I hit the caps lock button instead. Then you put in a description. You want to put something in there that is going to give them an idea. It's going to be, a 6.625 standard trading comic, glossy cover, quality pages, 32 pages story, whatever it is that you want to put in there. You want to make sure you're detailing specifically what all they're getting. Because then what people are going to do is they're going to look down and see all those items. And if your description doesn't match the items, people will be like, well, wait a second. They said I'm getting this, but not that. You want to be very thorough. Make sure you're completing your reward items. Your reward packages thoroughly. Same thing here. You get the 3:2 ratio. So this will be your image that has, if you're just getting cover A, if you're getting cover A with a PDF, whatever it is you're going to bundle together, that's your new image. Pricing, you can just be mindful that you're not screwing yourself, because customers probably won't pick up on it either. Like if you don't want to make too deep a discount, and you also don't want to make it twice as much expensive than if they just did like add-ons. So just be mindful that your pricing is fair, and that you're not, mostly important, that you're not ripping yourself off. You can do an unlimited quantity or limited. So if you wanted to do a limited run of a cover, you can punch that in. If you want it to be available for all backers, or if you want to make a secret reward to send out to your backers. So let's say you got a special cover of the book that you only want people that already follow you to have. You can pick that too, and it'll give you a link like that. You can say how long it's going to be around. It is a good idea to do like a weekend early bird special. So like the first weekend you go live, you've got 3 days to get the book at $5 off. Something like that. Or there's 20 books that are going to be half off. However you want to do it. Especially if you do that for the first weekend, people that typically jump on those deals aren't going to back out. So if you make them bigger ticket items and you give them a really good deal, the chances of them leaving it and missing out on that percent discount that you're going to do, reduces the risk that they're going to back out the last second. Then here, if you had items that you had put together, when you hit new item, it's going to give you all these, it's going to have a drop down of all the things that you can pick from. So cover A, cover B, if you're going to do a print bundle, sticker bundle, whatever it is that you're going to do, you can pick from that and put it together. And this says give yourself plenty of time for your estimated delivery. To give you an idea, you are not going to get funds for your project for about 3 weeks. If you're going to order a proof of your comic, it's going to take 3 to 4 weeks to get that. So altogether, before you even have all your stuff to start mailing things out, it's going on 2 months. So don't say like, okay, well, it's May now, so I'll have this shipped out by June. No, give yourself to like August, September, just in case things go sideways. I had an issue with the previous printer. It took me over 2 months to get my books. It was not fun. So give yourself plenty of time. In fact, if you need to give yourself a full year just to be wary of it, fine. As long as you communicate to your backers what's going on, they will give you plenty of room to do what it is that you got to do. And then you can pick where it's going to ship. If you pick anywhere in the world, just keep in mind that outside of the U.S., things can get expensive quickly. Not just for you, but for the people that are ordering it. There's places that have to pay duty fees and that sort of thing. Inside the U.S., $10 for shipping is pretty standard. If you have a USPS shipping account, most places it'll be cheaper than that, but you also have to pay for the packaging, plus your time of putting that stuff together. 10 is pretty standard, and you're still going to have times where you're going to spend more than $10 on shipping. I guarantee it. Anytime I ship to, like, I don't know, west of the Mississippi, it starts to get dicey. I live in Ohio. I've had times like shipping to California or Washington or especially like Hawaii. I've paid as much as like $15, $16, $17 with USPS to get stuff shipped out there. So just keep in mind, like, you can get burnt if you want to break it down into certain countries or certain states or whatever, other destinations. You can change all that up. If it is a digital reward, you can click that and there's no shipping and you just skip all that. And ignore the add-ons thing at the bottom. It's janky. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So ideally, you don't want to go overboard with rewards. The idea is you want to have... It's okay, continue. You want to have your basic package, preferably a download package for your book, because there are people across the country, or across the world, I should say, that don't want to spend like $60 on shipping, but they'll spend $5 or $10 on a download. It's easy money, and it doesn't really cost you anything, like time-wise or effort-wise, to do it. Those are people that want to back you, they like your artwork, and they're actually willing to pay you money for a download. So rewards, I typically, nowadays, I don't want to have more than like 7 or 8 reward tiers. If I'm like getting complicated with what I've got, like if I've got multiple covers, like my latest one was Alice in Slaughterland. I had 3 different cover packages. I had a couple things for like trading cards. And hindsight 2020, I wish I would have made it even more simple. But I didn't. So the simpler you keep it the first time, the easier it'll be to understand what's going on. And when you go to fulfill things, it'll be even easier to just knock it all out. But couple tips here. Number 1, if you're going to do like a print bundle or a sticker bundle, don't itemize each print or each sticker. So if you have 8 stickers going into a bundle, just make it 1 bundle of stickers. Even if you have a fan that's already bought 4 of them, give them a heck of a deal to get all 8 with a repeat of those first 4. Because going through and adding each one of those stickers, and then when you go to fulfill and you have to pull individual things, you will lose your mind. So just do bundles. If you don't want to do just bundles and itemize every single thing, that is up to you. So, like, just to clarify, in our first thing, our items, if you click new item, you do print bundle with all 8 prints, instead of doing 8 items of each individual print. You'll go nuts. Trust me, I know. That was my first Kickstarter. All right. So we got all of our individual items in there. Maybe we're doing prints. Maybe we're doing bookmarks. Maybe we're doing buttons. Maybe we're doing commissions. Commissions are a great way to really raise and balloon the value of your Kickstarter. You can limit that so you're not doing like 100 commissions. You can limit it to like 5 if you want. You can limit it to 1 if you want. You can do remarks on your book, where maybe on the inside cover or on the outside cover for another $20, you do a quick little head sketch. Something like that. If you want to add personalization, you can do that, where it's like, to Sarah, all the best. Make it $1 or $2, whatever it is that you want to charge. Make all of those things items, including autographs. If some people do it where they autograph everything, I had a couple situations where people didn't want their books autographed because they were going to go get them slabbed and graded. So you might want to make your autographs an add-on, but it has to be an item first. So I literally have one of these squares that just has my signature in it. It's like, if you want your book signed, it's going to cost you a couple bucks. No big deal. And then when I'm at shows, if people bring the books up, I sign them for free. All right, so we got all of our items in there. We have 5 or 6 reward tiers that are combinations of those items. Last bit is add-ons. Typically, every item that you make, you probably want it to be an add-on. What's the difference? Well, an item is just how you build your reward tiers. An add-on is after you buy your reward tier, there's an option to add on individual things. So if I just bought the cover A reward, I could then also buy an additional cover A. Some people like to buy one to keep it nice and in the sleeve and maybe go get it graded. Other people want an additional one that they can open and read. So my experience has been almost every time if I'm making an item, I am making an add-on. And it's super easy. You go to new add-on, you punch in the name, so it'll say additional cover A. Maybe I'll spell it right this time. A description, get an extra copy of cover A. And then upload an image. And it's literally just going to be picture of cover A. Pricing, I would keep it the same as whatever you're doing for the reward tier. And then availability, again, limited. How many each backer can get at a maximum? Is it going to run for a certain amount of time? This one's actually pretty cool. So if you wanted to do instead of an additional cover, if you wanted to do a special commission thing where like, hey, for the first weekend, I've got 5 commission spots open and they're $20 off. Have at it. You might sell 1, you might sell 2, but people, again, that buy these things on the first weekend aren't likely going to cancel their order. And then from here, you've already put together all your items. You just click on that. There'll be a drop down for your items. You can pick cover A. Pick your estimated delivery. It's going to be the same that you're doing for your reward tiers. 5 months from now, a year from now, whatever it is that you think is the absolute latest that it could possibly be delivered. And then shipping, you're going to pick the same thing that you're picking for the reward tiers. But think of it this way. If they're already getting a reward tier that you're charging $10 for shipping, and you can put another copy of cover A in there, you do not want to charge additional shipping. You could probably fit everything in there and keep well underneath $10 for US shipping. Now, if it's, let's say they got cover A and they got a big commission, and that's going to cost extra to package that commission, then you might want to charge for additional shipping. So anything that you put on an add-on, just think of it that way. If you're adding on an item and you put on shipping, you are adding on shipping. Do you really want to do that to your customer? 9 times out of 10, if not more, you can fit all those things right inside that same mailer you're sending the comic book out in. If you have questions about that, put them in the comments below or reach out to me, email or Instagram. All right, so this is the hardest part. This is where you're going to spend most of the time. And if you take your time and your due diligence to make a nice template that you have pictures of everything that you're buying, or you could possibly put into a reward tier, whether it's buttons, prints, stickers. If you have all of those saved and you can easily drop them into your template, items shouldn't take you that long to put together. It'll take you a little bit more time to then go back into your template and drag those items in to say, like, you get cover A plus the print package. That's a reward. You get cover A plus the prints plus the buttons plus the that's another reward tier. You got to have images for each of those. That way it's nice and convenient for customers to take one look and see what they're getting. So do all that. You could probably get this knocked out in an afternoon or two, just depending on if you have all those images already done. Hard part's going to be like if you haven't finished your cover art for your comic, you really need to do that before you do a Kickstarter. If you are going to do prints or stickers and you don't have the images done yet, you really want to get that done before you put together your Kickstarter. That way, all of your items have pictures, you can build your reward tiers, and it could just be done, like I said, in an afternoon or two. All right. Moving on. Story. This is where you're going to go in, and you're going to type in what it's about. You're going to put in images. If you have other videos you want to put in there. You saw on mine, I had several pages of my book as a preview so people can see exactly what they're getting. Like, here's what the lettering looks like. Here's what the pacing looks like. Here's what the art looks like. You don't want anybody to be surprised when they get their book and they're like, this doesn't look anything like what I thought I was getting. You want to be transparent, because if you burn people here in this Kickstarter because you're selling them short, you will never see them again. And they might be one of those angry critics that get on YouTube and try to ruin your life. Just do a quality job, go above and beyond, and make sure they're getting a quality product. The other thing that you might want to do in here is stretch goals. So if we only set our first goal for $500 to get the project backed, we could say stretch goals. And we could say that once we hit $1,500, everybody gets and I would be specific to say all physical backers get a free mini print. That's pretty cool. It's not going to cost you a ton extra to get a bunch of mini prints put together, but if it's a Kickstarter exclusive thing, then they're getting something unique that no one else is going to get. And then from there, you can do intervals of $1,000, $500, $1,500. You can set these stretch goals to whatever you want. I try to do nowadays $1,000 intervals. So you could do another one that's like all physical backers get a free bookmark. And again, those don't cost a ton to you. It raises your cost per physical item, sure, but you're also getting a ton of stuff in, and this is the sort of thing that gets people excited about your Kickstarter. And you don't have to do $1,000 intervals either. You can do $5,000, $10,000. You don't even have to do this if you don't want. This is up to you, and the only people that are going to hold you accountable are your fans. So if you don't deliver on this, shame on you. One thing you should keep in mind, though, is you should, in my opinion, do something for your digital fans. So all backers receive a digital download preview of my next book. Maybe you've already got something that you've been working on and you can do a quick little 8-page preview. It doesn't have to be like fully colored. If it's like the line art and stuff, this gets people excited that are only doing the digital download that you're doing something for them too. And who knows, you might have people overseas that are big collectors and they're like, hey, check it out, I just backed this project, it's super cool, guys. For $5 you can get the download. If we can get up to $2,500, we get this other thing. That's pretty neat. So do whatever you want with the story, that's up to you. This is a very simple page. Risks and challenges, you don't have to go into extreme detail. Chances are you probably already have enough to do an art book. You probably already have enough to do a comic book. The big risk would be just a, this is my first time doing a Kickstarter. I don't know how long it's going to take me to put these together for the commissions. I gave myself a year, but I will update you guys along the way. Should be able to get these knocked down in 5 to 6 months. You can put whatever you want there. Another one is, are you using AI? Hopefully, absolutely not. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about the art book. We'll finish with one more comment on the art book. So that sums up all this. People's just going to be, it's okay, continue. If you have a profile put together, if you've got a vanity URL that you want to put in there, this is all self-explanatory. Just read that. Payment's going to take you to Stripe. Do this earlier if you can. It does take a few days the first time that you do it for them to clear all your financial information. That way you can get paid and all that good stuff. Make sure all of your routing information is correct. If you have a federal tax number, make sure you have that available. And if you have multiple people involved in a project, make sure you understand who has majority ownership in that sort of thing. It's going to ask you all those questions. If it's just you making an art book, this is going to be super easy to do. Just click on that sooner than later so you can see what's all expected of you. And then promotion, it's just going to be like if you have your SEO numbers and all that stuff. You can put a pre-launch page together. I'm not going to go into all this because I think the bulk of it, you don't have to do any of this. Like Metapixel, advertising ID and that stuff. You don't have to do any of it if you don't want to. And then that's it. From there, there's an option when you go back to your project page to launch it once it's been approved. It usually, your first time, it could take a week or two for your project to get approved. And then after that, I've had projects approved like the same day that I finished putting them together. So, first time, yeah, it's going to take a couple weeks. But plan ahead. Plan around when you're going to be able to go out there and promote it, whether you're at conventions or what have you, or if you're going to be able to like schedule maybe some interviews with some podcasts or something, they'll promote it, and then we can go from there. Last thing I'm going to say, for my artist friends, I should have said this at the beginning, but most of you can put together a very simple art book today. And it's not going to take you hardly any time at all. It'll probably take you longer to come up with the legal text that you're going to put on the inside of the cover for like your copyright and that sort of thing than anything else. On this website, Mix'em, you can use whoever you want, right? You have options for photo books and everything else. If you want a real simple art book that people are willing to spend a premium price on, if you're doing your prints in 11 by 17 format or similar format to 11 by 17, you are already in comic book dimensions. So all you gotta do is all your prints that you already have saved in like a print file, you can drag and drop those right into Mix'em. And it'll lay it out on the pages. You just pick which one you want to be your cover, add text to it. If you're doing the perfect bound, where it's got like the square edge for the binding, you can actually put like Susie Joe's first art collection, volume 1, or whatever you want to put. They look super clean. If you pick the glossy finish, it is so shiny it looks wet. They look amazing. And I'm not a paid sponsor. I have no sponsorship with these guys. I just really love their product. And everybody, all my artist friends that have looked at these, they love the finish on the cover. So if you're an artist, and you have a body of work that you can put into a book, there's no reason why you shouldn't be doing this. In fact, if you only have a handful, let's say you only have like 20 finished pictures. Well, do you have the initial pencils? Because you do 1 page is the pencils, 1 page is the finish. Now you have 40 pages. Just make sure that, at the end of the day, what you're putting together for this book is a quality product that the people that are picking it up, they're proud to have backed you. They're very happy with the artwork that they received. And the reality of it is, most people, when they buy a book, they look at it a couple times and they never look at it again. That's the sad truth. Your artwork, they will hang on the wall and they will cherish it forever, but the book will go on a shelf and it will sit there forever. So, you want that book to be as quality as possible, because one day they might pull it down and look back through it, or they might leave it on their coffee table so friends can look through it. You obviously want to do a very good job. At the same time, the sad reality when it comes to us artists doing books is that if it's not on the wall, if it's flat, it just doesn't get looked at the same. So do a really good job. Put it together. You have plenty of people out there that don't have wall space anyways. Get them a good quality book that they're happy to throw 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever you're going to charge. And maybe you go with a bigger book. Maybe you go with a hardcover. Maybe, you got all kinds of options. But the idea that you're too busy to do this, if you're doing 11 by 17 prints, you can knock this part, putting the book together, you can knock that out tonight. It'll take you about an hour. Pick your favorite prints, put them in order. There you go. And you can do that right on Mix'em. They have a template where you actually pick what's page 1, what's page 2, what's the inside of the cover look like, what's the outside of the cover look like. Super easy. The idea that, I don't want to look like I'm begging. Like, you're already asking people to give you money. When you go to a convention or you post something on Instagram or Facebook and you say, prints are online in my shop. There's not a big step from there to begging for charity. And you're not really begging for charity. You're more or less doing a pre-order. And then last but not least, the optics of what's it look like if I fail? Guess what? I've heard so many pros say that I can't believe people are doing Kickstarters that raise less than $10,000. I'm that guy. I haven't had a single Kickstarter go over $10,000, but guess what? I haven't had to shell out of my pocket for any of my books. I have wonderful fans that have backed me, that are backing my books, that are getting commissions from me, and even Darkside. There's only 23 people that backed that book, but guess what? I got over 100 books that I could take out to the public. I sold all 100 of the first run. I've got a whole second run that I'm taking out, and I'm already working on issue 2. Is it a colossal banger? No. But I have a target audience that loves what I'm doing. They love what I'm producing. I'm sure that you do too. And I'm sure that if you go to your audience and let them know, I'm starting my first Kickstarter this fall. I'm going to be promoting it at New York Comic Con. I'm going to have a QR code on my table and as a flyer, as a handout. you're gonna raise $500. And if you want the cheaper version of the book, you can raise $300. I know you can do it. I know you can do it. And the only thing holding you back, don't say it's you that's holding you back. There's a list of things that are literally holding you back. We just went through them today. Hopefully you took notes of what you need to do and what you need to knock out. And chances are, if you really wanted to do this book, especially if you're an artist doing an art book, you could have this knocked out within a week. If you're doing a comic book, you might have a comic book to go write and illustrate. But you can also have this all knocked out and have the whole book paid for. I have one quick story to end. I was just at a con, and I was talking to two guys that were telling me about this book that he just launched. And like, yeah, and if you get it today, you get a limited package, like first edition, like stickers, this, that, the other. I'm like, wow, so you guys have this on Kickstarter? They're like, oh, no, we wouldn't do that. I'm like, well, why not? And they pretty much listed the three things that I just said. And they had dope art, and the story looked great. And I said, guys, how much did you pay? You know, and like, you don't have to tell me. How many books did you buy, and how much did you pay for it? Okay. You're telling me that you can go online and get 20 people to back this and get the sticker package and the other things that you got, and you wouldn't have to pay any money up front for these books. Your customers, your faithful ones, they would have this stuff right out the gate, and you'd have all your startup capital to run your books. Like, why aren't you doing this? And once we broke it down, they're like, okay, I see what you're saying. I was there too. I did do Kickstarter for the longest time, and now I plan on doing 2 to 3 every year at a minimum. So if you have any questions, like I said, leave them in the comments. I'm only here to help. I'm not here to criticize. I don't care what kind of book or what kind of project that you're doing. If you have questions, feel free to hit me up. I'm not an expert, and if this blows up, I don't know how I have time to get to everyone individually, but look at the comments down below, see if there's other questions that kind of fit what you're looking for. If not, hit me up, leave a comment. If you need more help, feel free to message me either on Instagram or at stevemessengerart@gmail.com. Guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for listening to me ramble. Hopefully you find this encouraging. Go start your Kickstarter. Get your customers a quality item. Get that capital and go sell the heck out of that book. We'll see you guys.